The government shutdown continues as Donald Trump and his allies are in a quiet panic. This is not going the way they planned, and it is going to hurt. Welcome to Occupy Democrats. I'm David Reddish. As we enter the third day of our government shutdown, Congress remains at an impasse. Democrats insist on funding and restoring health care subsidies for Medicare, and, in particular, the Affordable Care Act. Republicans, meanwhile, continue to blame Democrats for not ceding all their demands for their constituents, Democrat and Republican alike, to let Trump and House Speaker Mike Tiny Johnson erode our democracy and the functionality of our government. And Republicans are squirming. Appearing on CNN this morning, Kansas Senator Roger Marshall struggled to articulate Republican priorities, not to mention explain whom the American people blame for this current calamity.
I think everybody realizes this is a Schumer shutdown, that this is a politically driven shutdown, driven by AOC and the squad and the liberal Marxist portion of the Democrat Party. I think that's truly what's going on here. That's because, and then none of their arguments make sense why they're trying to shut it down. It just doesn't make any sense to anybody. So I would just discount that poll altogether, and that's not what I'm hearing from back home.
Why do you discount that?
Well, I just think there's so much other polls that say just the opposite. I think that
Which one?
The arguments out there, I don't have them at my fingertips right now. I can tell you that's a very biased poll. I'm absolutely convinced that this is a
Why is it biased?
shutdown.
Can you explain?
I don't even know who was it from? I don't even know.
The Washington Post. I mean, if it's biased, you should know which one it is. It's the Washington Post poll.
You know, that would be funny if it wasn't so pathetic. And if you think that's bad news for the GOP, stick around, it gets worse. So yes, for the moment, Americans on both sides of the political aisle lay blame for the government shutdown at the feet of Donald Trump, Tiny Johnson, and the Republican Party. It's almost like the American people expect legislators to, negotiate and cut deals, something Trump claims to be good at, though evidence suggests otherwise. See our other videos here on the channel for more on that. Take, for example, former Republican Congressman Charlie Dent. Polling overwhelmingly shows that Americans of all political stripes want Affordable Health Care Act subsidies restored. Dent sees it as a major warning.
Oh, sorry. The Kaiser Family Foundation poll also says that 59% of Republicans and 57% of MAGA supporters are included in that support. But does that make any difference to Republicans? What do you think?
Well, what I think is going to happen that at some point these premium subsidies under the Affordable Care Act will be extended simply because there are enough Republicans in the Congress who will want to extend them. They are facing pressure on the health care issue, Republicans, particularly after the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill that made various changes and cuts to Medicaid. And so Republicans know they're vulnerable on the health care issue.
And it just got grimmer. As Americans continue to blame Republicans for the shutdown and back Democratic proposals to restore healthcare subsidies in the new budget, Republicans are finding themselves increasingly backed into a corner in terms of what they can accomplish by refusing to negotiate. And now the Senate just dropped a new bomb on the whole mess. Take a look.
This afternoon, the Senate once again failed to pass a funding bill, and that means the shutdown continues through at least Monday. And we just learned that Speaker Mike Johnson is not going to call the House back to Washington next week, so that's going to put more pressure on the Senate. As soon as today, we expect the White House to announce thousands of permanent layoffs of federal workers. Sources telling CNN that the administration already has a list of where those cuts will be made. All right, fair enough. And Arlette, we just learned that the House is not going to come back to Washington this week. Help us understand what that means.
Well, Casey, this is a pretty stunning reversal from House Speaker Mike Johnson, who had insisted that the House would return next week. But just moments ago, they announced that they're actually telling lawmakers to stay back in their home districts. What Republican leadership in the House is hoping is that this will force Senate Democrats to get on board with the only plan that's out there, or one of the only plans that's out there right now, and that's that Republican-backed 7-week stopgap funding bill. But right now, there still does not appear to be any movement from either side on this issue. The Senate again voted today on that GOP plan, on a Democratic plan, and both of those votes failed, meaning that this shutdown is going to extend until Monday. Senators are now heading back home to their home states for the weekend, and it really does not appear that there is any type of negotiation or traction towards trying to reach a real resolution on this matter. Now, there are informal talks happening behind the scenes between a bipartisan group of senators. They're talking about those Obamacare subsidies that are set to expire at the end of the year that are really central to Democrats' demands. But everyone involved in those talks says that they're just informal. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that he's encouraged Democrats to have those conversations, but that nothing official has been put on the table. A bit earlier today, the Republican leader, Senate Majority Leader John Thune, said that they can't make any commitments when it relates to those Obamacare subsidies because they don't have a guarantee that they will have enough votes to have it pass. That's a reference not just to the Senate, but also to the House, which may not be willing to accept any changes that would head their way. So there's still a lot of big questions about how exactly this government shutdown could get involved, as really you have Republicans and Democrats digging in on their positions, really waiting for the other side to blink first.
So there you have it. Mike Johnson tells his Congress to stay home and keep the government shut down, which is exactly what the American people don't want. Nor, for that matter, do they want mass firings of dubious legality. Americans want a government that works for all of us. The truly astounding thing here is that Tiny Johnson is ignoring all the warning signs to let Trump move ahead with his threatened mass firings. That's not going to endear either of them to the voting public. Meanwhile, Democrats continue to hold firm in defending the American people and their right to affordable health care. So I ask you, my beautiful viewers, of the two parties, which is more in line with the needs of the American people? As we move into special elections next month and the midterms next year, just remember who started this mess and who has purposely avoided resolving it when the opportunity presented itself. Needless to say, we'll keep you updated on any breakthroughs in this story as they happen. This is Occupy Democrats.